One of the most anticipated roller coasters for 2022 is coming to a park that probably most people watching this video have never been to. This is Fun Spot Atlanta. This is a fairly new Fun Spot park. Many of you are probably familiar with their Orlando locations. This one was acquired a few years ago, and they will be debuting their largest investment ever, $13 million into ArieForce One, a massive roller coaster from Rocky Mountain Construction, RMC. I had the privilege of attending the announcement for this at IAAPA 2021, as well as seeing the terrain reveal at the RMC booth, and hearing from the team creating this ride has only gotten me more excited for it. This is going to be one heck of an attraction, maybe one of the best RMCs out there. In this analysis, I'm going to talk about everything that you need to know going into it. We're going to break down the layout, discuss the theme, the name, everything. As usual, kicking things off with the stats, we have a height of 154 feet. This makes it taller than the other RMC in Georgia, Twisted Cyclone. That ride stands at only 100 feet tall, and if you've ridden that one, you know how great of a ride it is. But it's definitely on the shorter side, and ArieForce One will not be. It has a length of 3,400 feet. For inversions, it is dropping riders at an 83-degree angle, 146 feet in the air. That is compared to Twisted Cyclone's 75-degree drop. And the inversions include a Raven Truss Dive, which is the first of its kind in the world, a zero-G stall, the longest in America. Not the longest in the world, that belongs to Zadra, but this will be longer than Goliath at Six Flags Great America. A barrel roll over the arcade, and lastly, a corked roll. You know, one thing that I'm very pleased with seeing is that this is going to be a very different layout than Twisted Cyclone. So yes, absolutely, just because you've ridden one doesn't mean you shouldn't go out and ride the other. And if you've been on RMC, you know that these are absolutely incredible rides. Some of the best roller coasters on the planet are from this company. This is a tremendous fit for Fun Spot Atlanta. Right now, they only have 2 roller coasters. One of those is a kiddie coaster, and the other is an E&F Miler. I think they're primarily known for their go-karts. They have a lot of land, and I can't wait to see it get expanded even more. I think at the press conference, John Arie Jr. mentioned possibly putting in a water park at some point. So it sounds like they're really trying to beef up this park. I also love how Fun Spot is working with the 3 biggest manufacturers for wooden roller coasters. They put a GCI at Fun Spot Orlando, a Gravity Grip at Fun Spot Kissimmee, and now even though they aren't using RMC's topper track, they are using their famous iBox track for this all-steel coaster. That includes the support structure. If you just take a look at this thing from the side, it is visually very impressive. I love the aesthetic that they use for their structure. We also can't talk about this ride without talking about the colors. Red, white, and blue. How patriotic. I love it. And it's understandable why. I mean, they're going with the name ArieForce One. It's a play on words with, of course, Air Force One and the owners of the park, the Arie family. The current CEO is the son of the founder of Fun Spot, and this ride is kind of a dedication to his dad. According to John, his father had a passion for flight when he was young, and so they're kind of theming the queue based off of that. That's where the whole announcement video came from. And when I see the front of the train, I see a paper airplane. I think that's probably the aesthetic that they were going for, as opposed to a realistic Air Force One design. And for those of you super nerds out there, you probably also noticed that this is using the RMC Gen 2 trains, the swing axles, as opposed to the legacy trains. These are the same trains that are seen on Twisted Timbers and Steel Vengeance and will also be seen on Iron Quasi. It makes for an incredibly smooth ride experience. So let's talk about this ride. You've seen the animation that the park has released. We did not get a full start to finish POV, but of course, in true coaster enthusiast fashion, fans have already recreated the layout on their own. This right here was done by Heavy Metal Coasters. I thought he did a fantastic job, but because it is a fan recreation, just know that this is probably not 100% accurate, but I thought did a great job at representing what we could probably expect. So we know about our near vertical drop. The first inversion is this dive loop. They're calling it a Raven Truss Dive, which the way I understand it is that it kind of pops out before you twist out into that inversion. I would almost liken it to the first element after the Raptors. You almost pop up before you twist down. I love a good dive loop on roller coasters. I think this one is going to be super cool. Twisting out before you twist back the other way, whipping all the way back down to the ground. And immediately following that, we have an ejector speed hill, which leads you into the stall. RMC does some of the best airtime that you can find on roller coasters, and this one is going to have some great moments, especially towards the end. So let's talk about the stall, the longest in America. In true RMC fashion, it is located directly under or next to the lift hill. I think it's very fitting that ArieForce One will feature a moment like this, especially since we don't have a stall on Twisted Cyclone. And like I mentioned earlier, when you have two RMCs both in the Atlanta area, you gotta make them a little different from each other. And you know, this ride is really gonna have one of the best first halves on a roller coaster. I think that they have combined an amazing variety of elements. But man, this thing is gonna be relentless as you're just flying through this layout. After that stall, an outer bank. I imagine a lot of you watching this have done Steel Vengeance at Cedar Point. That outer bank is one of the star moments of that attraction, and this is gonna feel very similar. You twist out of that outer bank and pop into a double up. And this next element right here is going to be absolutely insane. Following that double up, we have this very low to the ground 0G roll. And actually, I gotta clarify, saying low to the ground isn't appropriate. This goes over the arcade. This follows the roof. At Fun Spot Atlanta, they have this huge building, an arcade, tons of games inside. They didn't want to take it out. And so why remove it when you can just power straight over it? The elevation difference between the top of that airtime hill and this inversion is spectacular. That tells me you're going to hit this inversion with so much speed, it's going to be wild. Straight after that barrel roll, we lead into an outer bank airtime hill. You twist out of that and enter what they are calling a 3.75G ground hugger. Yeah, I know. It's basically just a turn, but it is going to be really low to the ground. And if they're claiming that it's going to pull 3.75 Gs, that's pretty good. That's going to be an intense moment. This sends you back towards the direction we came into our third and final inversion, another 0G roll. And now we have our world's first element. This is the chili dip. I am in constant amazement of the different element names that these people come up with, and chili dip is definitely one of my favorites. It takes place directly over top of the building. It pretty much just looks like the track is leveling out before heading into the quad down. But talk about an awesome finale for the roller coaster. This thing ends with the quad down. Yes, Lightning Rod is no longer the only RMC with a quad down. ArieForce One will feature one, and while this one does not hug the terrain like Lightning Rod, this is still going to be pretty freaking awesome. Just those small bunny hops constantly stepping down before you once again pop up, this time into the brake run. I think this has an incredible collection of elements. They have absolutely packed this roller coaster to the brim with cool moments. The ride is going to be huge. So yeah, I'm absolutely stoked for this attraction. I think it is going to be very strange seeing it in this park. Again, I have not been to Fun Spot Atlanta, but just based off of the images I have seen, I do wonder if it's going to feel very out of place. But again, I have big hopes for what the owners of Fun Spot are going to do with this park, really beef it up in the future. And I think giving them a standout attraction is an incredible start. Last thing I'll talk about, I know a lot of people are complaining about the name. I think it's a very clever play on words. I had no idea that Arie was the last name of the owners of Fun Spot. I mean, but once you explained the meaning behind the name, I think people will totally get it. I do think though, with the public, the vast majority of people are probably going to refer to it as ArieForce One. Especially if you didn't realize that it was pronounced Arie. I know I originally thought it was pronounced Arie and it was ArieForce One, and that is just a mouthful. ArieForce One is a lot better though. I don't think it is the greatest name for a roller coaster. I do think it would be a better name for a flat ride. But at the end of the day, it's Fun Spot. They can do whatever they want. I absolutely can't wait for this ride. I for sure will be there when it opens because without a doubt, this will be one of the greatest roller coasters to debut next year. So I want to hear from you guys. What do you think of ArieForce One at Fun Spot Atlanta? Let me know down in the comments below. And of course, stay tuned for more analyses here at Coaster Studios. And I'll see you guys next time.